a scene of devastation. Last night, the 14th of March 2023, in the early hours, Plymouth city centre was attacked by machinery to cull the trees. Scarcely a tree left standing. This was once a green wooded area of trees, and there's worse down there. More to come. The trees have gone. Concrete is coming. The City Council have struck. Such destruction of green vegetation is unheard of.
Morning from Spotlight. Work to cut down more than 100 trees in Plymouth city centre was stopped early this morning after protesters served contractors with an injunction. The controversial scheme is part of a regeneration plan for the city centre. The High Court order was served just after 1 a.m. by the group Save the Trees of Armada Way. Although almost 130 are to be cut down there, an additional 19 will be sowed alongside the planting of 150 semi-mature new trees.
Lisa, what's happening?
I'm here today, 15th of March, and looking at a scene of utter devastation. I think never in my days. We wondered whether this was coming, and we fought hard. We really did try hard to let people know what was at risk here, and we've gone through every step of the democratic rightful process. We've done everything down the line, everything according to the book, and we've shown up. Disinformation, lies, dishonesty, deception, and this is what it was all for. This was what the lies were about, and it breaks my heart, because only yesterday afternoon, a beautiful sunny day, these were healthy, mature, just about to burst into bud trees, springtime on its way, planted carefully with love back in the 80s and before. And now they've been ripped down. And when I saw the footage on social media, they used industrial scale. It was like a wide scale logging. They were here to destroy these trees. They were picking people out of trees. There was security, there was police. It was disproportionate. Nobody was here to cause trouble. People were here to peacefully protest, to just acknowledge their rights. But what I see here, I didn't think I could come today, but I had to come and put some flowers down there and witness this scene, because it's history. It should go down in history.
It will do. Black day for Plymouth.
Yes, absolutely. Because this is when, I'm not into politics, but this is when all of the major two parties, I would have to say, have let us down. They each had options. This could have been stopped. The council, following the petition, the council stated that there would need to be a consultation. So what came out of that was a meaningful community engagement. I don't think they called it a consultation, but if you read some of their little written bits, you could see they have called it that. But it took them weeks to count the figures up, and then when we heard that they were discounting ones that were saying, no, we don't want this, we don't want this, we don't want this. If you didn't add a comment, if you didn't have time to add a comment, or you were a busy mum, you couldn't write a comment, or if you had any other difficulties that meant you couldn't engage in this consultation, then your voice wasn't heard. But they've published the data from that. They've tweaked the figures, as we know only the council can, as they did with the tree survey. They messed with numbers and messed with people's heads, and they've done that with this community engagement. And they only published it a whisker of a moment before the guys came in and cut the trees down. They knew that was lies. They knew that this was no fair and just consultation.
When you say a whisker, we're talking about hours, aren't we?
Yes, we're talking about hours. But between the publishing of the plans to fell imminently, the security was already making sure that people couldn't access the trees. They were already pretty secure already, but they were closing off pedestrian routes. So that you couldn't actually be by the trees to protect them, and that was what some of us were wanting to do. We weren't here to cause trouble, we just wanted to protect the trees.
And of course, an operation of this size wasn't just knocked up in 5 minutes yesterday.
No.
This date was planned weeks and weeks ago. So really, whatever happened in the consultancy, the decision was agreed beforehand.
It was. They knew what they wanted to do. They were not going to waver from that, regardless of public feeling. I think I've only had a brief chance to look at the data that they've put out, but it's looking like about 21% wanted something that involved a SUD scheme, the flooding, sustainable drainage. Council said that was necessary, debatable whether it actually is. But because the science was put out there to the public, we thought, maybe flood risk. So that's why as many as 20% have said, perhaps we do need something to happen here. But if you take away the SUD's drainage and say, did you want changes, then it's around about the 10% mark. So, 80-90% of Plymouth people didn't want this. I love these trees. And I've spoke to hundreds of people while I've been here. I know you've spoken to a lot of people. And most of them have been unaware and would still be shocked today, coming here today, oh my God, the trees are gone. So they didn't get a chance to sign the petition. 16,000 people that had been, that had become aware signed, but so many, it's unfair to say that Plymouth, the rest of, the population, 22,000, 220,000 takeaways, that they approved because they didn't know about it. And the council were throwing out, I can't remember which officer, was throwing out a load of nonsense about, 16,000, but all the other people that, they clearly want it. So that's the mentality we're dealing with. They treat us like fools, but we're not. But it breaks my heart. And when I stop talking to you, I'll probably be crying.
Thank you, Lisa.
So for me, this has been an absolute travesty for the people of Plymouth and for democracy in our local political system. I haven't seen a strength in any of the main party that could oppose this. I've seen the Green councillor stand with us and some independents, but this is just a political game, and it's playing with real people's lives, and yes, livelihoods, businesses, but all we really need to do is to be around a table and making a design together that works for us all, for the businesses and for the residents and for the wildlife, for everything to be flourishing and to be sustainable going forward for my child, for all the children, for all the future generations, for all the generations of wildlife that relied on this corridor. We are not around long enough to think that what we do doesn't have a lasting effect. We have to be thinking 7 generations ahead. We have to be much more mindful, and this is a massacre.
It's hard to comprehend,
It's
isn't
a
it?
butchering.
To see it, yes. And of course, this goes way beyond environmentalism, because it's democracy. The
Yes.
people have not been heard.
No, there was a game of listening. It wasn't really listening, and there was no will. Where there's will, there's a way. There was no will to really listen, engage, and sit and debate and discuss. We were given lip service. The people of Plymouth have been given tokenistic lip service for things that we're passionate about, things that have very deep, strong personal meaning to this place. But more than that, it's just futures. It's about futures. And it's not in opposition to the business. It's far from it. There's 12% more money spent in city centres that have green canopies, and the new proposed trees aren't going to have a canopy. It's not going to be greener, and the trees that are in the picture are misleading, and we were told in one breath that the pictures won't be anything like what the environment will look like, and in the next breath we were told it would be looking exactly like the picture. It was just a complete messy lie, and unfortunately some people swallowed it, and some people thought some parts of it were good and other parts of the proposal weren't. Actually, we needed to do a lot more digging, a lot more questioning. Don't take it for granted. We are being fed lies.
Thank you.
I've been a resident for over 30 plus years in Plymouth. I've been around the world and seen everything. I've lived in Exeter. It's a shame that the Plymouth City Council don't take the Exeter green approach. They certainly haven't, because they've hacked down all these beautiful trees. These trees are 20 plus years old. They actually have birds nesting in these trees, insects, other life. When it was 40 degrees centigrade here, people could sit under the trees. There's nothing for them to sit under and enjoy the spaces. We have created a black urban space, not a green space. And the way they've destroyed the trees, no respect. So maybe that's how the City Council don't respect their people, their citizens, if they do that to the trees.
You've got to laugh at this. They've cut down the trees and they're going to make the area more environmentally friendly, and there are the bicycle electric connecting doodads. So Plymouth thinks that by introducing a few bike spaces, it makes up for cutting down the trees. Bizarre.
Well, like I said, if I came down through here and I started ripping great big branches off the trees, I would be arrested.
Exactly.
I would be arrested for vandalism.
Yeah.
And the people of the council that's actually made this happen, they should be named and shamed on the Eden Herald.
Yeah, it's just atrocious.
Then they got the cheek next month to send council tax bills out.
Yeah.
That's going to rocket in price.
Yeah.
And what money are they wasting on this?
I know, and where's our voice? You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
we said we don't want this,
Yeah.
but now it's like it's just been ignored. It's becoming like a dictatorship now.
It's disgusting.
It's just
You
it's
know?
one of the things that attracted me to this area. What
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
wildlife? Where are they going to go
Yeah.
now? And
look-
they're a protected species.
Yeah, it's looking like a bomb site here, isn't it? It looks like a bomb site, honestly. It does
It's-
look like a bomb site here.
It's
You know?
it's really disgraceful, and
But
it's
the council
it's-
don't seem to have a clue down here. They don't seem to have a clue on anything down here. You had a lovely subway on the Royal Parade.
Yeah.
They filled it all in. A poor old lady lost her life at 90 odd years of age, got hit with a lorry. They moan for 5 minutes, and it all gets forgotten again.
And also, I worry
You know?
because now as well, you're going to have wind tunnels coming through here.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
got the rain, we've got no protection. People are going to have slips and falls.
Yeah,
There's
of course
gonna
they
be
are. Yeah, of
people
course they
hurting
are.
themselves.
Yeah.
It's as you say, it's a massacre. I really are just.
Yeah.
It's emotionally.
Yeah.
I'm,
It's shocking.
and there's just there's no democracy,
no,
as you
no,
say.
definitely not.
The democracy
No.
is just totally
You know.
missing.
Thank you very
You know.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Look at the state of the trees in the centre of town. This is supposed to be a town centre with beautiful shade and trees, of very old trees, and this is greening at its worst. All these trees have taken years to grow, and the council have come along, taken them down. Where's the carbon footprint in that? And where is all this wind going to go to that's going to come howling down through the town centre? It's absolutely disgusting. They should be shot at birth, all of them.
Thank you.
That'll do me.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Honestly, the state of these trees, I think it's disgusting that the council didn't listen to the hundreds of people who are against cutting down these trees. The amount of time it's going to take for these to even grow back, and it's destroyed a lovely piece of greenery in the city centre. Obviously, the wildlife as well are really going to suffer with the lack of trees now for them to have their nests. I see a few of them be left up, but it's not great, and honestly I think that our voices should have been heard, and I hope that whoever on the council have been responsible for this and for not listening to our voices do hear now what we're saying and how upset we are.
I think those left up are just waiting for the axe.
Yeah, I think
I'm afraid.
it seems like I don't think anything's going to stop what they're trying to do, what plans they have to make. So I'm hoping at least they will have some sense and leave up the trees that are currently inhabited, but if they don't, then that's another reason to be upset.
I'm here in the city centre of Plymouth, and it's a really sad sight to see all of these trees chopped down for what appears to be no reason. People are protesting chopping down the trees, people are protesting saying it's good, some people are saying it's bad. I agree that it's absolutely terrible. There's no reason to chop down something that is living and that helps us live and breathe, especially in such a polluted city such as Plymouth. It's disgraceful that the council cannot see and protect the citizens that they're trying to, well, look after. It's their hometown as well as ours, and they don't seem to care about that. They don't seem to realise that. And that is very upsetting to everyone in Plymouth, including myself. And it's just, I wish there was more that the world could do.
Yeah, I don't know really what to say actually. I find it's a very sad day, and I feel like devastated about what happened today. I came into town and it looked like after war basically. It really does. I was really shocked and had tears in my eyes, and can't believe that the council doesn't listen to the people, that the majority of people don't want this to happen. And I've heard lots of people saying it's about money, it's about greed, and I'm very disappointed about the people who have a say actually about who can decide about what happens in the city, and they just don't care and don't listen to what's actually happening. And I think it's not that they want really a change. I think they just don't want to feed the pockets, their own pockets actually. And yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that what they've done around here is absolute murder. These trees have been here longer than any of these buildings. They secretly came in the middle of the night and chopped them all down just so no one would complain about it. But what they don't realise is the whole of Plymouth is complaining. Thank you very much. We're all fuming. Not only are we all fuming, but there's birds that come back now to see their nests and they're not there. I mean, how would you like if you come back and your house wasn't there? You wouldn't like it. That's murder. We keep going on about the pollution in the air. Trees is what give us the air. How are we supposed to survive when there's no trees? As far as I'm concerned, the council have done something totally disgusting today and chopped these trees down. It's complete murder.
Hi, my name's Ali. I started the straw campaign with my husband Mark, and we're just in town now with some people who want to bear witness to what happened last night. I think it's really devastating, interesting watching people's reactions as they come through town and see it for the first time. Real shock and disbelief. Yeah, it's horrible. Okay, so as well as releasing the final design yesterday, they also released the results from the public consultation, and in the conclusions of the public consultation, or meaningful community engagement, they said that the overwhelming majority of people objected to the proposals. So it makes you wonder what the point of it all was. The people of Plymouth could not have done any more to express their feeling about these trees and how they didn't want this to happen. And the council have just done absolutely everything to prove that they don't care and they don't listen. I mean, there's nothing democratic
It's back to
about
front
this.
democracy.
Yeah.
It's the other way round, isn't it?
Yeah, it's absolutely disgusting. I mean, just talking to the people in town today, I mean, all the way through this campaign, talking to people all the time. It's just been disbelief, shock. You know, people want to know why, and there's no good reason. It's really disgusting. So last night at 1 o'clock we managed to serve...
1 a.m?
Yeah, sorry, 1 a.m. We managed to serve Paul Barnard a injunction.
Who's Paul
He's
Barnard?
the Strategic Planning and Infrastructure Officer. He is behind the project, very much pushing forward all the way through. We served him with an injunction, which meant they had to cease the felling, and if they'd done any more after that, it would have been a criminal offence, which they did. But it was too late for 110 trees. Absolutely devastating to see so many gone down. 110 trees in 5 hours. I mean, I didn't even know it was possible to cut down trees that fast. So now we have to file a judicial review, which will investigate how we got to this point, really, and why.
But it can't bring the trees back.
No, that's the problem, isn't it? And that's why they did it so quickly, because they knew once they're gone, they're gone. It's irreversible.
It is so fishy how this happened so quickly, because apparently they told various councillors by email just before the work started.
Yeah.
And of course, to get a task of this size done, they booked this plant and machinery in for this day, and the staff weeks ago.
Right, yeah.
So it really, whatever had happened on any consultation, it was happening today.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, lots of people knew about this. I mean, there were dozens and dozens of security guards, loads of police. There were police dogs here. I don't know how many contractors there were. Fencing guys. There was an enormous amount of people here, loads more than the protesters. And obviously the timing meant that by the time we knew what was going on, lots of people had gone to bed and weren't checking their phones. So we didn't, I mean, even if lots of people had turned up, I don't think we could have done anything. It was overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's been a hard day.
Alison, you said something about the results of the public consultation. You said the result was, what's the word you said?
So in the conclusions of the meaningful community engagement, the council's website says that there was the people were overwhelmingly against the proposal.
Could you say the word again, please?
Overwhelmingly.
Overwhelming. What does that mean, overwhelming, that word?
If you look at the results from the meaningful consultation, and only about 15% of people were answered yes to the questions. And as we know, the survey was heavily biased and almost impossible to answer without accidentally giving support to the scheme anyway, which is why we ran our campaign. But I think largely it was sort of between 65 and 70% against the proposal, and that was whether you include it was people outside of Plymouth or the city centre. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, my name's Councillor Chassing. I'm an independent councillor. I'm also the independent candidate for the Ham Ward. Later on, I'm taking on the incumbent Councillor Tudor Evans, OBE, and I have made myself very clear in terms of what this council, the Conservative Council, and in a cosy coalition with Labour have done. What you see and what I saw last night was just wanton, absolute vandalism from an ecological point of view. They came in last night, and the way you can see how they've disrespected the way they pulled these trees down, they showed no care, concern whatsoever. However, now that the injunction's been served, which was at 1 o'clock this morning, it's now down to the council to decide and see whether or not what's happening here could be what's happening at the start of what's happening in Sheffield as well. So if you want to find out what's happening in Sheffield, Google that and you'll see what it's all about, because Plymouth is going to have to go through that phase at the moment. The other thing that gets me is the lack of consultation. The meaningful engagement became meaningless. Let's be realistic. It was like, oh, we've done this report, we've ticked the box, we've done what we can, done. Let's just get the guys in, let them chop the trees down, done. I came in, I was contacted by Leslie from Oggy Oggy Pasty Shop, and interestingly, the impact it's having on the businesses is really interesting. So I'm going to let Leslie say a few words about that.
Leslie, is this your shop just here?
Yeah, that's ours. That's Oggy Oggy, Oggy Oggy a mile away. It's absolutely terrible what has happened. The trees could have easily taken up, removed, rehomed. We've all been cordoned off around here. So myself, Subway, nobody can go back and forward. We're losing business.
Are you part of the city centre bid?
Yes, I am.
So the Business Improvement District was set up to improve businesses in the district.
We had to beg this morning to get the bars put around so we could have our tables out. Yeah, not very happy.
And has anybody?
That's my lot, I'll say.
Has anybody come to you from the city centre company?
Nobody.
Nobody. You've had
Nobody
no
has
communication
been.
at all.
No, nothing at all. We had letters in the post, but nobody has come
No
this morning.
face-to-face engagement?
Nothing at all.
Okay.
All right.
So hopefully, what I'm expecting from this video is that somebody from city centre company, the bid, comes along, comes and speaks to Leslie, because they could quite easily put a thoroughfare through there. Now that they've done the destruction that they wanted to do, that's done. Can't do any more than that. So there could be nothing wrong in doing that, because don't forget, last night when I was here till about midnight or so, there were people who must have definitely missed their coaches. There were people who were trying to get back into the Copthorne Hotel. There were students who were looking around and thinking, which way do we go? So last night was a real disaster in terms of trying to get on the side of the public. But clearly the council has showed, in my honest opinion, contempt, absolute contempt for the people of Plymouth. This shows that in the middle of the night they can just come along, do what they've got to do. Last night there were police officers here, there were security guards, there was armed police, and there was even security with guard dogs. And because they wanted to fulfill their thing, chopping down the trees. It's sad. It's a sad day for the city, a sad day for democracy, and a real sad day for those people who embrace nature, but also at the same time, this is all beautiful in the eyes of the beholder, and now look at it. It's really bad. Every person I've spoken to is absolutely shocked, mortified, and just saying the only words that are coming out of their mouths, disgusting, disgusting. Sad, sad news. If you're thinking now that the trees have been chopped down, what is it you can do? Come May the 4th, there are going to be local elections. I know Plymouth Labour, I know Plymouth Conservatives are behind this. I'm standing as an independent candidate, and there's going to be a whole raft of independent candidates standing in the local elections on May the 4th. You'll need ID for the first time this year to go out and vote. But if you live in Ham, you've got an opportunity to vote for me and keep me on the council. So May the 4th, not only vote for me, Chas Singh, Ham Ward, but also vote for the other independents like Gavin Marshall, St Budo, Nick Kelly, Compton, Greg Black, Efford Lipson. There are a number, Dave Canning, Peveril. There are a number, Terry Beer, Plimpton Earl, Patrick Nicholson, Plimpton. There are a number of candidates who are going to be standing as independents. Show the same 16,000 or just under 16,000 people who signed that petition could actually turn around and say, those people who are responsible for this, we can see the back of them when they come out of office on May the 4th.
Last night, Plymouth was raided. Plymouth was raided approximately 82 years ago. This month also, March 1941. It was raided again last night, which was March the 14th, and in the early hours of today, March the 15th. Heavy machinery with police backup, security, came in here and cut the heart out of this green, lovely, peaceful space. So what's behind all this? It's the size of men's penises. The leader of the Conservative Party has to prove his penis is bigger than the combined penises of the population of Plymouth. The would-be Lord Mayor
also has a large penis, and he has to prove his penis is bigger than the population of Plymouth. As a man, I know how important this is. We have seen an utter breakdown of democracy in Plymouth. The consultation process, farcical as it was, gave a clear idea that only 21% of those who filled in the paperwork thought this idea was good. Deducting 21 from 100 leaves 79 who thought it wasn't a good idea. The petition had over 15,000 people. This did not affect the size of the penis of the leader of the Conservative Party of Plymouth City. He's had his way. So I would imagine that the men behind this, I did say men, I think this is almost an example of toxic male behaviour, such as we see in the Metropolitan Police today, where police officers think they're untouchable. Maybe the people from the city involved in this think they are untouchable also. I would imagine when they woke up this morning and knew this had happened, their penises were even bigger than they were last night. Winners. This is a terrible event for Plymouth. Democracy has broken down, as it is everywhere in the world I see now. Only last week we saw the government trying to tell Gary Lineker not to say his piece. Thankfully, he stood up. If people don't stand up, this happens, and slowly we lose our rights. It happens imperceptibly slowly, like in Germany in the 1930s. Civil rights, freedom of the press, you can't say that. It disappears so slowly no one notices it, until one day it's gone.
Hi. What happened last night, I think one of the worst things I heard about last night is apparently you could hear where all the big machines were cutting everything down. You could still hear birds tweeting. So birds who'd lost their homes and sweet little things just tweeting away. And it's all part of the destruction and environmental crime that went on here last night, I think. Bad day. Bad day for Plymouth.